How to have a successful first day with a new dog. Getting a new dog is an exciting event in your life. The first few days together are particularly important. You'll begin building trust, become accustomed to one another's habits and personalities, and have tons of fun. Unfortunately, it can also be a stressful time, as you have to purchase all the necessary supplies, secure your household, monitor your dog's acclimatization, and make introductions to other resident animals and people. Get organized now and ensure that you make all the necessary preparations well before bringing your new dog into the family. Part 1: Preparing your home. 1. Purchase a crate and bedding. Having a crate and bed ready for your new dog is important. The warm, enclosed space gives your dog the feeling of a den, and it also makes potty training easier if your new dog isn't housebroken. You can make the crate particularly welcoming by tucking a soft bed or old t-shirt inside, as well as some chew toys and a few treats. Be sure that the crate is well ventilated, and also that your dog has just enough room to stand up, turn around, and lie down within it. Never leave a puppy in the crate for extended periods of time, and don't ever send your dog to the crate as a punishment. If you do, your dog will learn to dread the crate and stop thinking of it as a safe shelter. 2. Ask your vet for a food recommendation. Pet food is big business these days, leaving the market flooded with different brands, flavors, and varieties of dog food. In order to sift through the abundant offerings, ask your vet to recommend a healthy, well-balanced food for your dog. Ultimately, you want to choose a kibble with 1 or 2 whole proteins as the first and second ingredients listed. You may want to ask the shelter or breeder what food your dog was eating prior to adoption. That way you can give your new dog the familiar food for the first few days in its new home. 3. Ask the previous owner for pertinent background information. Whether you're adopting from a shelter or buying from a pet store, you should obtain records and information regarding your dog's health, ownership history, certification, and any behavioral problems or history of abuse. Knowing this background will help you make your dog's transition period go smoothly. For example, if your dog has a history of violence or abuse, you should take care to make the transition particularly low-key. Keep contact with children minimal and controlled, lower music volume, and monitor household traffic. 4. Dog-proof your house. Once your dog gets used to its new home and house rules, you won't have to be so careful with proofing your home. While your dog is still acclimating, though, you should expect it to be curious about all the unfamiliar sights and smells. In order to make sure it doesn't get into something dangerous or messy, install locks on cabinets containing harmful household chemicals. Put your shoes, leather goods, and other chewable items out of reach, and tie up or remove any exposed cords and wires. You should also make sure that you keep all closet and outer doors closed so that your new dog stays enclosed in a specific, prescribed area. If other people live in your home, ask them to keep doors closed as well. Store your dog kibble in a locked cabinet as well so that your dog can't rip into the bag and gorge while you're away. Also be sure not to leave human food out on low tables or counters where your dog could get to it, as foods such as dried fruit, chocolate, onion, and garlic are particularly harmful to dogs. 5. Patch up any holes in your backyard fence. A yard can be a great resource for your dog, giving it a large space to run around in while you're doing something else. If you're not careful, though, your dog can escape through a weak spot in the fence or a hole in the wire. Do a thorough sweep of your enclosure before letting your new dog out to run around, fixing any weak spots or filling up any holes as you go along. You should also make sure that any trash bins, sharp tools, swimming pools, or toxic garden flowers are secure and inaccessible to your dog. 6. Gather a supply of chew toys. Even if your new dog is an adult and won't be going through teething, you should expect chewing and gnawing to be one of its favorite pastimes. Put out plenty of hard rubber toys so that it won't opt for furniture and household items instead. If your dog likes soft, plush toys, check the label and make sure they're dog and child safe, meaning they don't contain any hazardous materials or squeakers which they could choke on. In general, you should avoid rawhide and animal bones. Your dog might love them, but they can splinter and cut your dog's gums, or break off and get swallowed. 7. Measure your dog's neck before buying a leash and collar. Your dog's leash and collar should be sturdy and secure, but also large enough to permit comfortable breathing. Most organizations and breeders recommend nylon or leather collars and leashes, and also that you buy an adjustable variety so you can make it wider or narrower depending on your dog's growth. Never use choke, chains or collars with rings, as these can get caught on your dog's teeth and become a choking hazard. 8. Keep any resident pets closed off from your new dog. Ideally, you can get your other pets out of the house entirely when you bring your new dog into it. That way, the dog can explore its new digs without feeling threatened by resident dogs or animals acting in a territorial fashion. If you can't get a friend or family member to take them for a few hours, put them in a separate room or the backyard where they can't be heard barking or growling. Also be sure to keep any cat bowls, litter boxes, and bedding in a safe place which your new dog can't reach. Part 2. Introducing your dog to the household. 1. Take your new dog out. As soon as you get home from the shelter or breeder, take your dog for a walk. It will be a fun bonding experience for the two of you, and it will allow your dog to relax and release some of its pent-up energy and anxiety. Take it slow if your dog appears uncomfortable with the leash and collar. Avoid retractable leashes until your dog is accustomed to being led. 2. Use a calm tone of voice. Your new dog will only become more anxious and slow to acclimate if you bark orders or scream with frustration. Even if it does something wrong during the transition period, try to keep a low, soothing tone and avoid frightening or threatening reproaches. Be aware of other noises which could alarm your new dog. Loud music, honking cars, shouting children, or blaring televisions can all shock a dog and make it associate its new environment with fear and distress. 3. Provide plenty of treats. Giving your new dog treats frequently during its first day in the new home will help you build a positive and trusting relationship, as well as show your dog that it will be rewarded for positive behavior. Start handing them over while you're still in the car on the way home, and keep it up every time your dog does something good. Check the label on your treats before you purchase them, as some dog treats are basically canine junk food, filled with preservatives, sodium, and low-quality components. 4. Let your dog have some space. Remember that a dog's transition to a new home is stressful, effectively changing everything about its surroundings and routine. You can alleviate this stress by giving your dog space and providing a quiet environment. Throughout the first day, show your dog that it's free to withdraw at any time to its crate and, if possible, keep the crate in a room where other people or animals won't be around consistently. Also give the new dog access to as much of the house as possible so that it can meet any resident people or animals by smell before meeting face to face. Part 3. Getting acquainted with people and pets. 1. Make introductions to family and friends. After your dog has explored the house for a few hours and gotten some rest, start introducing it to family, friends, housemates, or anyone who lives in the home with you. It's important to do this on the first day so that your dog becomes comfortable with anyone it will see and interact with on a frequent basis. Make introductions one at a time so that your new dog doesn't become overwhelmed. It's especially crucial to do this step if your new dog belongs to a territorial breed. If you wait too long to introduce new people to these kinds of dogs, they can have a hard time getting acquainted and even become aggressive. 2. Go for a walk with any dogs you already have. Once your dog has explored its new digs, take it for a walk with your resident dogs. This will let them meet, sniff, and play with each other while located on neutral ground. Keep their leashes on so that you can supervise the interaction and pull them away from one another if things get too heated or frisky. When you get back to the house, have them play off leash in the backyard for a while. This area is less neutral than the street or dog park, but it's also a good, intermediate level before bringing them into the house together. If you don't have a yard, move the dogs into the house separately and put them in different rooms. 3. Let the dogs meet in the house for quick, pleasant sessions. Once your dogs have interacted in neutral territory, let them do so within the house. If you're worried about fights escalating quickly, keep their leashes on but let them drag on the floor so that you can pick them up when necessary. After some brief, indoor playtime, separate the dogs again by putting them in different rooms or separate crates. Ask your vet or a dog behavior specialist for help if one of your dogs has a history of intra-species aggression. You might need to use a muzzle for a while, or your vet might recommend against taking in a new dog entirely. 4. Let your new dog and resident cat see each other from a distance. After keeping your cat separate for a few hours, put your new dog on the leash and open the door to the room where your cats have been sequestered. This will allow your cat to see the friendly interloper and to decide how it wants to handle the interaction. If it wants to hiss and stay put on a high shelf in the other room, let it do so. If it wants to come out and sniff your dog, let the two of them get acquainted. Your cat might not want to mingle for several hours or even days, so just make sure that they have a lofty perch where they can see your new dog and get used to its presence without having to interact.